Hello everyone, I am Abhishek Srivastava. Welcome to the world of enhancing leadership within you. I am going to discuss the 17 principles of success written by the great Napoleon Hill. So there's a book which I have just completed now, and the book name is Laws of Success. Well, if I talk about Napoleon Hill, he's one of those legendary writers who wrote 17 Principles of Success. The book was written way back in the early 19th century, or rather 20th century. However, it is still effective until today's date. Well, it is said that the number of millennia this book has made, no book has ever made this number of millennia. There's a book which says if you read and follow and incorporate the practices, whatever Napoleon Hill has mentioned, trust me, you are going to master in your life and you will become rich. So today I'm not going to talk about Think and Grow Rich. I'm going to discuss about 17 principles of leadership. Believe me, if you go through this book, start incorporating these into your day-to-day life, leadership will not be very far away from you to achieve it. So to begin with, I'll start with a brief summary and a gist of the book. So it took almost 25 years for Mr. Hill to do a research and write this book. The bottom line and the crux of this book is, he says, whatever a mind can believe, or rather whatever a mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. And trust me, this is the bottom line of a life. Anyone who is an aspiring candidate to be a leader, they have to live under the philosophy of this signature dialogue of Mr. Hill. Anything a mind can conceive and believe, the mind is going to achieve. So I'm going to start reading out all the 17 principles. There are a few points which I have mentioned over here. So I'm just going to take you through. I'm not going to take a longer time of yours. It will just take 15 to 20 minutes of your time. So I believe these 17 principles lay a very strong foundation for anyone who wants to improve in their life or who wants to achieve a leadership. Well, to begin with, you will have to, it is not that you will just go on reading it and visualizing it. In order to have an effect, a significance of this, you will have to write down on a piece of paper and start incorporating it. What I have done is, I have stuck all the 17 principles in my bedroom where I sleep. So every day, whenever I go to sleep or whenever I come to my bedroom, I just review those 17 principles. The reason why I have stuck all those pictures in my room is just to make sure that I do not get deviated, because sometimes what happens, if something is not in front of your eyes, you tend to forget it. So it is always there in my mind. Whenever I go wrong, I just review those books. So this is principle plus exercise. Just reading principles is not going to land you anywhere. So principle plus exercise, only then you will be able to taste the effect. So to begin with, the first principle which says definiteness of purpose, which means you need to have a definite purpose of your life. If you do not have a definite purpose of your life, you will not achieve anything. To begin with, how do we define definiteness of purpose? Success is towards achieving a goal. Success is towards achieving a goal in your life. That begins with knowing where are you going, or where are you approaching or heading towards. Until and unless you do not define your goals, until and unless you do not define the purpose, where are you going to go, it is not going to land you anywhere, trust me. So you have to make a definite purpose of your life. It can be a long term or a short term purpose. It could be 5 years down the line. What are your targets? What are you going to achieve? So Mr. Napoleon Hill has defined in a very concise and a precise manner. any dominating idea or a plan or a purpose held by a subconscious mind. So any planned or a constructive idea that is there in a subconscious mind, those are called as definiteness, or those are called as the purpose of your life. So any dominating idea, plan or purpose held by a subconscious mind through repeated and efforts and emotions by burning desire. Your mental attitude gives power to everything you do. Everything you do, everything you approach towards, it all stands on one ground, that is mental attitude. So it is the starting point for all human achievements, and definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all human achievement. It sets a goal for you, it defines the purpose, and it sets everything for you. Well, what Mr. Napoleon Hill said, if your attitude is negative and if your attitude is positive, there are two effects to it. If your mental attitude is everything that gives power to everything you do. So if your attitude is positive, so your thoughts and your mindset and further actions and acts are positive. If your mind is negative, trust me, everything you do, every act of yours will be having a negative impact, and so you will continue undermining your further acts, and you will continue undermining your enthusiasm as well and your efforts subsequently. So it is very important to have a positive mental attitude. And the subsequent exercise which is allotted for this definiteness of purpose is you have to first set your plans, how you're going to approach towards it, how much time it is going to take to achieve those plans. Write in a very clear and concise manner in a sheet of paper or in a file and keep it with yourself. Review every now and then whenever you go through it. So the first principle is definiteness of purpose. You have to set a definiteness of purpose. You have to set a defined purpose, what you're going to do, what you're looking for, what is your area of interest, what are the things you want. Define a definiteness purpose, how much time it is going to take, and accordingly schedule everything. So the second principle which talks about establishment of mental or a mastermind alliance. Now Mr. Hill has defined it in a very beautiful manner. What do we call as a mastermind alliance? Well, I'm sure no one has ever achieved success without having a mastermind alliance. There is always a person behind you to make you a successful person. You cannot just achieve success without help of others. You need to have cooperation, and you need to have a mastermind alliance with you to achieve a success. So it's like two or more minds working together to find or to go towards a definite purpose. A common definiteness purpose is always backed by a mastermind alliance, which is, that could be in terms of any people, your family, friends, your manager or your subordinate, anyone. So choose any person who is going to help you in your journey. Either choose your mother, either choose your friends, or anything who can help you, who will have a dominating effect in your life, so that they can guide you. So choose a person whom you really trust that he can help you, like I have chosen my manager, and I'll take help from him. So no individual has ever achieved success without help and cooperation. And what Mr. Hill has said, a single mind and multiple minds, obviously it will yield a better result. If a single mind is working and if multiple minds are working, definitely it will have a greater effect. So if 4 or 5 minds are working together, it will have a greater effect and it will have a greater result as well. So first thing you have to do is fix a purpose of attaining this alliance. Fix a purpose, why do you want to achieve it. Choose a person whom you want to take with yourself, and ensure harmony prevails. So there has to be harmony. There should not be any preconceived notion or any biased feeling. It has to be in harmony. It has to be done in harmony. So this was all about establishment of mastermind alliance. Moving on to the second one, or rather the third one, use of applied faith. So what do we call as applied faith? Faith is nothing but it is just the belief or awareness of belief and harmonizing with universal powers. Faith is the emotions, or it is just the state of mind which has to be active, not passive. This is what Mr. Hill says. The applied faith, it has to be active. It always had to be active. You cannot keep it in a passive mode. Close the door to fear behind you. You will quickly seek the door of faith open for you. So, if you are under any fear, if you feel that there's something that is stopping you, or if you feel that there's something that's not gonna achievable, that is not attainable, trust me, you're not gonna achieve it. Anything which you have that is more likely to be achieved, just go for it. Just go for it. So if you have the faith, if you have the ability, if you have the belief, trust me, you're gonna achieve it. So what exercise he has allotted for this principle, he says, what are the affirming statements or belief you have within you? Like, what belief I have, I never give up, and be it whatever, I just go for it. Strive the right balance between the purpose and your strong emotions. So if you have that spirit that you can do it, definitely you're going to achieve it. That is what Mr. Hill says. Anything that mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. So just jot down the faith, what are the qualities that you have, and you feel that that's going to help you to achieve those principles. Just go for it, write it, and make a very clear note of it. Now the fourth principle says pleasing personality. This is one of the most important personalities which we lack, and most of the people lack. In fact, I even lack. So it is all about talking about harmony, being in harmony, staying in harmony. Do good for others, trust me, you're going to achieve good. So whatever you give, the same you get. Simple logic. So a positive mental attitude is the right kind of mental attitude one can carry with themselves. So positive mental attitude is the right kind of mental attitude anyone can have. And courtesy is the most profitable asset of all. Our mental attitude, what we have, our mental attitude is one of the best and the most powerful asset which God has given to us. It comes by default, and it's just that we need to improvise on that. Emotions. So he talks about emotions. Emotions are nothing but the reflections of your mental attitude. So when we talk about being frustrated, being happy, being sad, all these are reflections of our mental attitude. So the way, the mental attitude we have, the mental approach we have, that is reflected in our day-to-day behavior in the form of happiness, sadness, frustration. And what Mr. Hill says, your personality is the greatest asset, and if not utilized well, it can be a greatest liability for you as well. So the personality, your personality is the greatest asset, and it can be a greatest liability because it embraces everything that you or a mind or a soul embraces to do, and a body and a soul as well. So what Mr. Hill says is a very good line. To be happy is to make someone happy. So if you really want to be happy and lead a successful life, make other people happy. Pleasing personality, what I personally feel, sometimes we do criticize others, we do think bad about others. We say they're not the one, they're not good, they're not bad, they have something bad. We do criticize others, we do talking bad about others. So this is something which we really have to get rid of it. Stop criticizing others. First thing, do not think bad about anyone, do not talk bad about anyone, do not undermine anyone, and do not talk in anyone's behind. If you think something is going wrong, just go and tell them. Do not talk behind them. And if you really think the person is not worth and he has some mental attitude or mental block, just leave it. But do not undermine anyone. Have a pleasing and a perfect personality and a pleasing personality to ground to earth. Have a ground to earth personality. So this is something which even I am working on, and hopefully I will be able to overcome it. So what Mr. Hill says, the activities or the exercise which he has allotted are write on the pleasing personalities which you have with you, or what are imbibed in you, and what are the pleasing personalities which you need to work on. So make a note of all these and how these changes are going to help you in your success, how these changes are going to help you in your success. And what are the changes that you're going to make? What are the changes that you're going to incorporate that will help you get this pleasing personality in you? So make a note and just trust me, this is going to help you. Moving on to the other principle, which says going the extra mile. So this is something which I have been following it, and even my manager says. See, to achieve a success, you always have to go the extra mile. Just being restricted and being confined to the allotted area, it's not going to help you in any ways. So you always have to go an extra mile. Well, strength and struggle go hands in hand. And what Mr. Hill says, render more services than you're paid for. Work more than you're paid for. Trust me, you will get the result in compound interest. So you will get a compound interest result if you render more services and go extra mile to do something. You just cannot stick to your day-to-day routine, day-to-day life and whatever you have been allotted. Always go an extra mile, believe in yourself, and you're going to get the result, trust me. Believe sooner or later you will receive compound interest, including your investment as well. So this is very economical term, but it can be related to a real-time aspect as well. So the second aspect of it, he also focuses on quality. So it's just that you just cannot keep giving or rendering services. You have to deliver the service with quality as well. So go the extra mile, render more services with quality plus mental attitude. If these four things are followed, you will achieve success. Trust me. And the ending quote which he says, the more you give, the more you get. Simple funda. So the more you give, and the more you will get. So the exercise which is allotted to this principle is what extra mile you can go to achieve the success. Have a mind set up and refrain and jot down and establish what are the extra miles, or how much extra mile you can go, how much more services you can provide to achieve the success, and what might be the anticipated result. So what are the obstacles or what are the hurdles which you anticipate that could come your way, and how to overcome those hurdles. So keep note of these points and write it down. So this is all about the principle of going the extra mile. Now moving on to the next principle, which talks about create personal initiative. So it is always better to act on a plan that is still weak than not to act on a plan at all. So it is always good to act on a plan than not to act on a plan at all. So what Mr. Hill says, personal initiatives are contagious. If you take a personal initiative, this is something which even I implement, and this has resulted in a great achievement, I guess. So if you start taking personal initiative, people will definitely approach you, and they will have a good mindset about you. But the person who do not take personal initiative, people do not trust them more, and they do not have that very good to go feeling for them. So start taking personal initiative, and it is actually contagious in nature. It will form and create a more number of trust on people about you. So it is like a progressing ladder, and all the expert advice are the same. Start taking personal initiative and you will achieve it. Do not leave for others. If I don't do, someone else will do it. No, you have to take the personal initiative, you have to take the ownership, and you have to do it. If you will not do, someone else will impress the others, and they will upgrade the ladder, and they will move towards the career, but you will not. You will be at the same place where you are. Your life graph will not go anywhere. So this is what he talks about the personal initiative. So what are the actions or the tasks which are allotted to this personal initiative principle? So just think of what are the personal initiatives that you can take into picture, or what are the actions that you can take today right now. And what he says, what Mr. Hill says, you just cannot keep it pended, or you just cannot delay or postpone it for tomorrow or next month. Just fix a plan when you're going to do it. Is it right now, the day after, or immediately you're going to start implementing it? So write down in precise and crisp and clear manner how long it is going to take and when you're going to start it. And write very affirming statements, and you have to be optimistic. Write in crisp and clear manner the things which you face or which you think are going to be hurdle. Write every statement with the prefix I will. So I will be able to achieve my targets. I will be able to achieve or overcome my hurdles. So write all these statements if you really feel it's not going to help. Keep writing it. Trust me, as you progress towards every day, it will have a change and it will have a significant effect. So it's something which you cannot do through a mental attitude. Keep writing it, and trust me, it's going to help you. Next thing he talks about, the seventh principle is enforce self-discipline. So what Mr. Hill says, self-discipline is nothing but it is a process that ties together all the efforts controlling your mind, your personal initiatives, your positive mental attitude, and controlling your emotions. So what Mr. Hill says, self-discipline is nothing but how you're controlling your emotions, how you're controlling your mental attitude. If everything is in your control, you have a perfect discipline. So this is how you can enforce a personal discipline within you. And self-discipline is something that makes you think before you act on anything. If you take an example of great personalities, they will just not quickly blurt out or speak anything. Whatever they speak, it will have a logic. So all these things are mastered by the great philosophers or people is by mastering this great personality or by self-discipline. So if you master the self-discipline, you will think before you act on anything, and everything which you speak will add value to it and will have a definite purpose and a value. So if you go through Mr. Hill's book, on a repeated basis he talks about a conscious and a subconscious mind. So as we all know about our conscious mind, if I touch this electric board, I know I'm not going to touch it because it is going to have a definite, it will definitely going to impact me, or it will give me a shock. So I'm not going to touch it. But yes, if I really go by the subconscious mind, if tomorrow once again I come and say look at this switchboard, I will not touch it because I knew this is something which is going to give me a shock. So those are the examples which Mr. Hill gives about conscious and subconscious mind. So our conscious and subconscious mind are two different entities and two different aspects. When all the faculties of our mind gets together, it forms a definite purpose. So this is what Mr. Hill says about self-discipline. Without self-discipline, what Mr. Hill says, without self-discipline, you're as dangerous as a car which is running downhill without any brakes. So if you do not have self-discipline, you are as dangerous as a running car downhill without the brakes. It is unrequited, it is uncontrolled and unavoidable. So this is what Mr. Hill says. So what are the tasks allotted to the seventh principle are? After writing each statement, I will. So start writing each statement with the prefix I will and imagine how does it feel and what are the obstacles that might come your way. And what parts are easy, what parts are difficult, you have to make a note of it. What parts are easy to implement the self-discipline principle and what parts are difficult to implement the self-discipline principles. Now the eighth principle, which talks about a controlled emotion. So what Mr. Hill says, keep your mind off the things which you don't want and keep the mind within the things which you really want or which is most likely to be achievable or attainable. So something which you really don't want, something which you really want to get rid of it, or something which you really want to avoid, just keep your mind off those things. If you think something that is bothering you a lot, keep your mind out of those things, or if possible be away from those people or keep those things away from you. And as Mr. Hill said, controlled emotions or controlled intention is all about controlling and coordinating with all the faculties of your mind. So we talk a lot about conscious mind, subconscious mind. We have sixth sense as well. So when all these faculties of your mind are allotted or starts working together, that is when we can say that we have controlled intention of ourselves. So what Mr. Hill says, a positive and a negative attitude, or a positive or a negative emotions cannot occupy your mind at the same time. So independence starts with self-dependence. So you cannot have a positive and a negative emotion at the same time. If you have this attitude, trust me, you have a controlled intention and you will definitely achieve whatever you will look for. So what are the resources? What are the resources that you think can help you achieve all these principles? Make a note of all these resources. Resource can be in terms of your mastermind alliance. Either it could be your own personal attitude, or there are some guidance or principles or some tutor or a mentor who can help you achieve these principles, or whatever resource you can think of at a dynamic form that will, or at a broader aspect as to that would help you to achieve the success. So think about these resources and start implementing, start working on them. Now the ninth principle which Mr. Hill talks about is enthusiastic or an enthusiasm control. So this is one thing which Mr. Hill keeps on talking about. Be enthusiastic and act enthusiastically. So you have to be enthusiastic, and when you're acting you have to be more enthusiastic. So enthusiasm is progressing towards what Mr. Hill says, without enthusiasm, it's like a gasoline of a car. So gasoline of a car, it is a part of a car which gives speed to the car. Because of a gasoline, a car moves. So without the enthusiasm, you are like a gasoline. You are like a car without a gasoline. That's what Mr. Hill says. So you have an engine, you have a brain, but it's like a gasoline. You will not be able to give a push to your brain. So without enthusiasm, you cannot do anything. So enthusiasm stimulates your subconscious mind, feeding a conscious mind with enthusiasm. So this is what Mr. Hill says. Enthusiasm is a state of mind which inspires action and most contagious of all emotions. So what Mr. Hill says, enthusiasm is most contagious emotions of all the emotions. So enthusiasm spreads in a contagious manner than any other emotion. If you talk about feeling sad or frustration, that will not spread in a contagious manner, but yes, enthusiasm can spread in a contagious manner. So if you have this, you can definitely achieve it. So the task which is aligned to this enthusiastic control is, what are the things you're afraid of? What are the things which you think you're afraid of and are the hurdles? And write them with a prefix that I'm afraid of a lizard, I'm afraid of public speaking, I'm afraid of my manager, or whatever things you're afraid of, whatever things you think are hurdle in your way. Write in an affirmative statement. Now do one thing, go to the next page and write the same statement, change the prefix with I can and I will. You will see a change there, trust me. So keep on writing this, and if you want to overcome this, write with an affirmative statement and you will be able to overcome it. Moving on to the 10th principle, cultivate or a creative vision or imagination. So what Mr. Hill says, our mind exercises challenge and adventure. So our mind uses all sort of ideas, all emotions, all facts, and reassemble everything, and then we act upon it. So if all these things are put together, our mind forms a new ideas. So from today onwards, start imagining things. Have a greater imagination of whatever you want to achieve. I have seen people who do not imagine at all, who just somehow keep on doing their day-to-day life and do not have a greater form of imagination. If you really want to achieve something, you need to have a very great imagination. For say, I am really looking at something which that is irrelevant whether it is attainable or not, but have a greater imagination. So Mr. Hill has taken an example of the great. Okay, so we will move on to the other one. What are the tasks which is aligned to the imagination? What Mr. Hill says: imagination recognizes limitations, create vision, and sees no limitation. Your imaginative faculty will become weak through an action, but revived through use. So your imagination will not have a very great effect if you just think it, but yes, when you start using it, it will have a great effect. So what is the task which is aligned to this creative vision? So imagine your ideal life, what you think as an ideal life could be, or what you think that could be. Okay, think of an ideal life where everything has been achieved, you have been a successful person, and you have everything you love, the person you love, you have that, and where are you living, etc. So imagine an ideal life where you have achieved everything. Keep a very very clear and crisp note of it. And second line, on the second page of it, what are the alternative methods that could help you achieve those things. So whatever plans or whatever ideal life you're thinking of, just think of the alternative methods, how you're going to achieve it. So this is what the imagination talks about. Now moving on to the other bit, which talks about adversity and defeat. So he says we have to learn from adversity and defeat. Now I have seen people who loses themselves when they see a defeat. But what Mr. Hill says, everyone faces defeat, but they never know that could be a stepping stone, or that could be a stepping stone. If you see a defeat, or if you face a defeat or a failure, that is a part of your life, and without defeat or without a failure you cannot achieve anything. That is almost a stepping stone for you. So failure and pain are the language through which the nature speaks to all the living creature. So failure and pain is a part of your life, and you are, what Mr. Hill says, you are never a failure and you are never a loser until you accept your failure, or until you accept your defeat. You will never lose, you are never lost until and unless you accept your defeat and your failure. If you accepted your failure, that is when you're going to lose it. If you do not accept your failure and think of doing it well the next time, definitely you are going to overcome the fear of failure. So he gave a very nice example of Mr. Thomas Edison. Mr. Thomas Edison, everyone knows. It almost took 10,000 attempts to perfect a light, or to light a bulb. It took, he tasted defeat or failure 10,000 times before he perfected a bulb. So before the bulb could light up, it took 10,000 times when he tasted failure. So if he can do it 10,000 times, why can't we do this 3 or 4 times? So don't worry if you fail. Every defeat and failure and every unpleasant experience carries with it the equivalent seed of benefit, which may prove to be a blessing in disguise. So you never know, it could be a blessing in disguise. Any failure which you get could be a blessing in disguise for you. So remember obstacles that you get a positive breakthrough. So the task which he has aligned to us would be, remember of any obstacle or any hurdle that has come your way and that has got a positive breakthrough in your life. Even I have an example. I never thought of coming to the city, but I had to come to the city, and it gave a positive breakthrough in my life, which I could not think of had I been in a different city. So this is one task which you have to do. You have to write in a precise manner. And Mr. Hill says, when you learn to waive any unpleasant experience or unpleasant situation, you are on a road to success. So if you learn to waive any unpleasant situation or anything that anything bad that has happened to you, if you learn to waive them off, you're on a way to or you're on a road to success. Now, this is one of the most important principles, the 12th one. I know I'm taking a longer time of yours. I thought it could be a 20-minute video, but it will go for some more time. Budgeting your time and money. Mr. Hill says, tell me how much time you spend, how much money you spend, and how you spend them. I will tell what you will be and where you will be after 10 years. So it is as clear as that. How you spend your money, how you spend your time, and I will tell you after 10 years down the line where you will be and how you will be and at what stage of your life you will be in. So take a regular inventory of yourself, your time, your money. Take a regular inventory, how you spend your money, how you spend your time. Do not just go in the flow. Do not just keep on doing it, spending your time month on month basis. Just look at and start analyzing it and visualizing it, how you're doing it and how well you can do it. And Mr. Hill says, time is too precious. Time is too precious to be wasted on some arguments and allegations or any kind of controversies. So life is too short to be wasted on anything which is of no use. Some mistakes can be corrected, but not the mistakes of wasting time. So some mistakes can be corrected, but not the mistake of wasting time. When I am explaining you this, it might not be that useful until and unless you start reading the book. So these are the principles which you really have to start incorporating it. And when time is gone, the time is gone forever. So the task which is assigned to it, he says, take a regular inventory of a monetary and a time inventory of expenses that would help you achieving your goals. So keep a tab and make a note of what are the resources, how much time it will take, what are the expenses that's going to incur to achieve your success, where will you find these time, where will you find such a resource, and what will you do with this spare time and money. Like I have decided something to utilize it well with my spare time and money. Maybe I'm going to invest in somewhere else or keep it with myself or give it to my parents. So that is something which I have decided on. And the most important principle of all, build a positive mental attitude. What Mr. Hill says, it is one of the most important mental attitude of all, a positive and a static mental attitude. A positive mental attitude is a single most effective tool which could help you achieve your success, and without which you cannot imagine of maximizing your benefit from any other 16 principles if you really go by it. So if you do not have a positive mental attitude, none of the 16 principles are going to be valid, or none of the 16 principles are going to show its real effect until and unless you start having mental attitude. So Mr. Hill says, success attracts success and failure attracts failure. And to govern your life, you must be able to govern yourself first. And the starting point of all success is a positive mental attitude. Your mental attitude is the only mental attitude which has complete control over you. Your mental attitude is the only mental attitude which has complete control over it. And trust me, with a mental attitude, it calls for opportunities and it attracts opportunities. However, a negative mental attitude repels success and it attracts more of failure. So if you have a positive mental attitude, you can do it. So just have a positive mental attitude. Yeah, whatever the situation is, just act in a positive and an optimistic way, and you're going to achieve it for sure. So a positive mental attitude finds a way how I can achieve it. How a negative mental attitude thinks of all the negative ways how a mind cannot achieve something. So this is something which you have to really be able to segregate and distinguish between a positive and a negative mental attitude. If you are having this feeling in your day-to-day life that you are looking for all the options which will endeavor, which will take you to a way which will give all the negative direction, which will help you to find a way which will not be achievable at all, that means you are having a negative mental attitude. So what Mr. Hill says, the exercise which is allotted to do this principle or master this principle is, one full day imagine how much time you spent on gossiping, criticizing and wasting time on others. Just start evaluating it and analyzing it, and just keep a track of yourself for next 1 week. How much time you're spending on criticizing others, wasting time, gossiping, something which is not of any use, not productive at all. Start imagining, visualizing these things for a week, and next week onwards, change your plan, change your perspective towards others, and start implementing and incorporating these principles into your life and see a change there. And any mental attitude, erase it from your life. As simple as that. Moving on to the 14th principle, just 3 more to go. Thoughts have power and are under your control and can be used wisely and unwisely as well. So accurate thinkers, whom do we call accurate thinkers? Accurate thinkers are someone who do not give anyone the chance to think about themselves or think on someone's behalf. So they are called accurate thinkers. Whatever thinking or whatever imagination or whatever plan you have, it has to be accurate enough. And accurate thought evolve 2 fundamental principles. Accurate thinkers allow no one to think on their behalf, and they do not allow others to think on behalf of them. So think of the obstacles that you might encounter. Think of all the obstacles that you might encounter. These are the tasks, and think hard about truth of each of them. How truth and how honest are those? So whatever obstacle you have, and think about those and start incorporating it into your day-to-day life. Now this is one of the most important principles which I do not follow at all. This is something which is called as maintain sound and physical health. I never used to follow it until I read this book, but since the time I read this book, I have really make my routine a very streamlined, and it has become very defined. And definitely it gives a perfect and a very powerful approach when you begin your day. So earlier what used to happen, I had a habit of sleeping late and getting up very late. I always used to skip my breakfast, no exercise, just go to office, come back from office. And however, I understood over a period of time that I need to have a systematic approach and a streamlined approach towards my life, because your physical health will have a direct link with your mental health as well. So if your physical health is not up to mark, it will not give power to your mental health to think of anything. So if you have a positive physical health, if you have a powerful physical health, you will have everything, and you will have all sort of mental attitudes. So your physical health is aligned to your mental health. Now it's on you how you're going to do it. So anything that affects your physical health will have a direct impact on your mental health as well. So a positive mental health is the best form of mental health and physical health as well. If you have the power to maintain your body, you will have the power to maintain your mind as well and control your mind as well. So exercise is something which produces a good feeling, which makes your day active. Trust me, start following it. Get up early, do exercise, just see the change. You will have the full day, a very good day, and you will act enthusiastic. you'll be enthusiastic, and you'll act more enthusiastically. So the exercise which he has allotted for this 15th principle, you have to keep a track of everything, every positive things in terms of your health you do, anything bad which you're eating, anything which is not good for your health which you're eating. Keep a track of all these things. And what is it to be healthy for you? What does it mean to be healthy for you? And did you get proper sleep or not? Are you sleeping on time? Are you maintaining a proper schedule of your life? So keep a track of all these things and start changing it from over a period of time. Now, the last but not one principle, which talks about cooperation. So if I talk about from the ancient period or from the medieval period, none of the things are done without cooperation. So inspired teamwork, cooperation, and it is one of the great evidence of civilization. Nothing could have happened without cooperation and teamwork. If you talk about an example of a football team, you cannot play football without cooperation. If you do not have a good coordination and cooperation, you cannot play a game of football. So helping others solve their problems in somehow will also help you to solve your problems as well. And helping others is in some way helping yourself. So this is what is called cooperation. So start implementing it. So think of the way that you might help people in return. So if anyone is helping you, for say, take an example of Mastermind Alliance, the people you have chosen, you just cannot take help from them and consider them as the mediator or a resource whom you can take and implement and take help from them. But you also have to see what you can do in return for them, so that even it could be beneficial for them as well. It just cannot be one way, it has to be two ways. So that is what I have to say about it. Now the last one, this is one of the newly added principles, which talks about cosmic force. Now this is a very a peculiar term, cosmic force, but I want to give you an example of a cosmic force. What Mr. Hill says, it takes a habit to replace a habit. So something which you think is not a good habit for you, or something you think is not a good habit. For say, you have a habit of sleeping for long, you have a habit of criticizing others, you have a habit of getting up late. So only way to overcome these habits is by replacing it by another habit. Stop criticizing others, think from the positive side of it. Start maintaining a schedule, your routine, make it streamlined. These are the things which you can start implementing by a good mental power, by a strong will of your mind. If you are able to do it, you can definitely do it. So all the success are the result of the great habits that you have within you. If you are able to succeed in your life, those are the only tools or results of the great habit that you form within yourself. So every result, there is a cause, and every result are brought through by use of cosmic habit force. So every result or every outcome which you get is a result of a positive cosmic habit force that you have. So if you get the habit, and then it is getting you as well. So the principle which is allotted to this is prepare a manifesto of your life. Like we prepare the manifesto before the election time. The parties contesting the election who present the manifesto as to what are the things that they are going to do, what are the changes that they are going to bring. So to prepare a manifesto of your life, and the most important part is 8 things that you think you will put in this manifesto, 8 things that you will do to implement these manifesto. So what are the things that you're going to bring a change in you? Everything, you have to be crisp in a head block. Anything that you're going to do to have a change in you. And once again, if I have to sum up everything, when you learn to wave any unpleasant circumstance into something useful, you are in the road to success. That's all I have to say. Start implementing it and you will be on a road to success. Thank you.